The morning sun filtered through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Marcus Blackwell's corner office, casting long shadows across the polished mahogany desk. At 34, he had built an empire from nothing. His tech company dominated the market. His name appeared on Forbes lists, and his penthouse overlooked the glittering cityscape below. Yet as he stared at the elegant wedding invitation in his hands, Marcus felt smaller than he had in years. Rebecca Sterling. His ex-fiancée was getting married. The invitation was cream-colored with gold lettering, the kind of expensive stationery that whispered of old money and social status. Rebecca had always been drawn to those things. It was one of the reasons their relationship had crumbled 2 years ago, when she decided that Marcus, despite his wealth, would never truly belong. In her world, "You're brilliant with technology," she had said during their final argument, her voice cold as winter rain. "But you'll always be that awkward kid from the wrong side of town. My family expects more." Now she was marrying Harrison Whitmore III, heir to a banking dynasty, and everything Marcus could never be. Polished, connected, born into the right circles. Marcus set the invitation down and rubbed his temples. The wedding was in 3 weeks, and Rebecca had specifically requested his presence, probably to show him what he had lost, to parade her perfect society husband in front of the man who had dared to think he was worthy of her. A soft knock interrupted his brooding. His assistant, Patricia, peered through the doorway. "Mr. Blackwell, your 11 o'clock is here." "Send her in," Marcus said, straightening his tie. Emma Rodriguez entered the office with quiet confidence. She was applying for the marketing director position, and her portfolio had impressed him more than any of the other candidates. She wore a simple navy dress that somehow made her look both professional and approachable. Her dark hair was pulled back in a neat bun, and when she smiled, her whole face lit up. "Mr. Blackwell, thank you for this opportunity," she said, extending her hand for a firm handshake. As they talked through her qualifications, Marcus found himself genuinely engaged for the first time in weeks. Emma had grown up in a working-class family, putting herself through college and graduate school. She understood struggle, understood the drive to prove yourself when the world expected you to fail. "I believe in authentic connections," she was saying, discussing her marketing philosophy. "People respond to genuine stories, not polished facades." The irony wasn't lost on him. Here he was, planning to attend his ex's wedding with no one by his side, while this woman spoke about authenticity. An idea began to form. Desperate, perhaps, but suddenly appealing. "Ms. Rodriguez," he said slowly, "how would you feel about a somewhat unconventional business arrangement?" Emma tilted her head, curious. "I'm listening." Marcus explained about the wedding, about Rebecca, about his need to attend with someone who could match Rebecca's sophistication. "I would pay you handsomely for your time," he concluded. "Think of it as an extended job interview. If you're comfortable with the arrangement, the marketing position would be yours regardless." Emma was quiet for a long moment, her dark eyes studying his face. "You want me to pretend to be your girlfriend, to make your ex-fiancée jealous?" "Not jealous," Marcus corrected quickly. "I want to show her that I've moved on, that I'm happy." "Are you happy, Mr. Blackwell?" The question caught him off guard. Most people in his life didn't dare ask such personal things. "I'm successful," he said finally. Emma smiled sadly. "That's not the same thing." Despite his reservations, she agreed to help him. Over the next 2 weeks, they met regularly to prepare for the wedding. Marcus took Emma shopping for an appropriate dress, insisting on something elegant but not flashy. She chose a deep emerald gown that complemented her skin tone perfectly. They practiced their backstory, how they had met, how long they had been dating, shared interests and inside jokes. But as they spent more time together, Marcus began to notice things that had nothing to do with their arrangement. Emma laughed easily, a sound that seemed to brighten whatever room she was in. She asked thoughtful questions about his business, offering insights that his highly paid consultants had missed. When they walked through the city, she pointed out small details he had never noticed. Street art tucked into alleyways, the way afternoon light caught the windows of old buildings, the stories written in strangers' faces. "You see the world differently," he told her one evening, as they sat in a quiet cafe, supposedly discussing wedding logistics. "Maybe you've just been looking at it from too high up," she replied, stirring cream into her coffee. "Sometimes you have to come down to street level to see what's really there." The wedding day arrived grey and drizzly, matching Marcus's mood. Emma met him at his penthouse, and when she emerged from the bedroom in the emerald dress, his breath caught. She looked stunning, but it wasn't just the dress or the way she had styled her hair. It was the confidence in her posture, the warmth in her eyes when she looked at him. "Ready?" she asked, smoothing down her skirt. "As I'll ever be," he replied, offering his arm. The wedding was everything Marcus had expected, elegant, expensive, and suffocating in its perfection. Rebecca looked radiant in her designer gown, every inch the society bride she had always wanted to be. When she spotted Marcus and Emma during the cocktail hour, her smile became sharp as a blade. "Marcus," she said, gliding over with Harrison in tow, "how wonderful that you could make it. And this must be your friend." "Emma Rodriguez," Emma said smoothly, extending her hand. "I've heard so much about you, Rebecca. Congratulations on your marriage." Rebecca's eyes narrowed slightly as she took in Emma's appearance, clearly trying to place her in the social hierarchy. "And what do you do, Emma?" "I work in marketing," Emma replied simply. "I help people tell their authentic stories." Marcus watched the exchange with growing admiration. Emma wasn't intimidated by Rebecca's subtle condescension. She responded with grace and dignity, never once trying to prove she belonged in this world. As the evening progressed, Marcus found himself genuinely enjoying Emma's company. She made conversation with strangers, laughed at the right moments, and somehow made him feel more relaxed than he had in months. When they danced during the reception, she felt perfect in his arms. "Thank you," he murmured as they swayed to the soft music. "For what?" "For being exactly who you are." Emma looked up at him, something shifting in her expression. "Marcus, I need to tell you something." But before she could continue, Rebecca appeared beside them. "Mind if I cut in?" she asked, though it wasn't really a question. Emma stepped back gracefully, and Marcus found himself dancing with his ex-fiancée. Rebecca was beautiful, perfectly dressed, everything he had once thought he wanted. But as she spoke about her new life, her perfect husband, her perfect future, Marcus realized something that should have been obvious weeks ago. He felt nothing. "You've changed," Rebecca said, studying his face. "You seem lighter somehow." Marcus glanced over at Emma, who was chatting with an elderly guest near the cake table. The woman was laughing at something Emma had said, her face bright with genuine joy. "Maybe I have," he said. When the dance ended, Rebecca leaned close. "If you ever get tired of playing with the help," she whispered, "you know where to find me." Marcus stepped back, finally seeing her clearly. "I don't think I will," he said quietly. The drive home was silent except for the gentle patter of rain against the car windows. Emma stared out at the city lights, seemingly lost in thought. "You wanted to tell me something earlier," Marcus said, as they pulled up to her apartment building. Emma turned to face him, and he saw something vulnerable in her expression. "I took the job," she said. "The marketing position Patricia called this afternoon." "That's wonderful," Marcus said, though he felt a strange pang at the thought of their arrangement ending. "But I can't work for you," Emma continued. "Not anymore." Marcus's heart sank. "Why not?" Emma looked down at her hands, folded in her lap. "Because somewhere between the dress shopping and the dance lessons and pretending to be your girlfriend, I stopped pretending." The words hung in the air between them, heavy with possibility. "Emma," Marcus said softly. "I know this wasn't supposed to happen," she rushed on. "I know you hired me to play a part, and I've probably ruined everything by—" Marcus leaned across the seat and kissed her, cutting off her worried words. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. "You haven't ruined anything," he said. "You've made everything make sense." 6 months later, Marcus stood in another church, but this time he wasn't a guest. Emma walked down the aisle toward him in a simple white dress, her smile radiant with happiness. She had quit the marketing job, choosing instead to start her own consulting firm. Marcus had been her first client, and her most successful campaign had been showing him that the best things in life weren't bought. They were found. As she reached him at the altar, Emma whispered, "No more pretending." "No more pretending," Marcus agreed, taking her hands in his. "Just us." And for the first time in his life, Marcus Blackwell felt like he was exactly where he belonged.